Alrighty, it's about 5:01 p.m. Mountain Time. That's out here in good old New Mexico. Today is May the 5th, 2016. If I haven't said it on every Thursday, I should be saying happy birthday because usually it's somebody's birthday during the week. And I'm here. I'm glad to be here. Looking forward to downloading some very interesting information. And maybe next time, I was supposed to do it today. I was supposed to have my crystal C note bowl up here, but I don't have the proper base for it, so I don't want to put it up on my little table here and have an accident. Uh, but anyway, I do have one of my tuning forks, 128 hertz, available if I should need it. One of the things, though, that we're going to do, first thing, I welcome everybody that's coming in. My chat room side is not flowing through as it should. So, what I'm going to have people do is those of you who are connected with me on Facebook, if you would like to have any questions answered according to whatever I'm doing today, and if you already have befriended me on Facebook, it'll be even easier. You just send me a private inbox message. And then what I'll do is I'll see your message and then I could go to it and, of course, give you a direct answer that you can hear straight online. For those of you who, uh, who are unable to see the show, I'm not quite sure many people won't be able to see the show today. Usually within about 30 minutes or so after the show is done live, I have an opportunity to upload each and every show to my YouTube Circle of Grace 1 channel. So that way you could always, at any time during the month or several months later, review the show. The platform here at Ustream that I'm using right now, the programs only stay live for about 30 days. So each show stays in the queue 30 days. After that, I have to, download it or it could get deleted so that you could watch the show. All you got to do is come back before 30 days is up, view it as many times as you want, or better yet, just go to YouTube, uh, www.youtube.com/user, which is USER, /, and then without any dashes, just type in Circle of Grace with the number 1 at the end, and it'll take you to my channel. And then you'll see all the previous shows that are uploaded there. Before we get started, through divine power and by divine grace, know that today is a special day. Every day is a special day. Every moment to moment is special. And so I'm looking forward to releasing some information to you all in the audience today, be it again you listen live or you listen later. What I wanted to do today was give a brief synopsis of last night's Blog Talk Radio show on my channel, The Age of Remembrance, sub-channel title is The Circle of Grace 1 in the Age of Remembrance. And I talked about the the importance of unconditional love, the importance of unconditional love. And I'm going to do a part 2 of that live next Wednesday at 4 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, those shows on Blog Talk Radio right now only are up for 30 minutes live, but on Blog Talk Radio channel every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Mountain, which is 3 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday. There's a live studio call-in number, which is 347-677-0851. And of course, you could listen that way through the show. Now, again, for anybody that happens to be tuning in to the show. I wanted my chat to be open. It was just working a second ago, but now it's not working. So, what I want everyone to do, if at all possible, all you basically have to do is, if you are a friend of mine on Facebook, just send me a message in my private inbox, and I'll be able to uh, answer your question. I'll see it and answer it. In fact, right now I'm going to open up the page this way as well, so that I'll just flip back and forth to see who has left the message, left a question. Now, one of the things when I was talking about the importance of unconditional love, one of the things I did mention is that it's one of the very hardest things to master. Unconditional love. To be able to do it 24/7, I don't know anybody who does. If there are people, congratulations. But I do know for a fact on some level people slip. And I know I slip many times. So to be able to, well, why would I present this? Because I've been able to express unconditional love, I'd say pretty much about 90% of the time. What is unconditional love? Unconditional love is allowing yourself to be in service, to show care and compassion, understanding for another being, another person, for an animal. It's your ableness, it is your ability to respond in that manner without any strings attached. Meaning that, for instance, you wouldn't say, well, I'm going to shower you with unconditional love, and but I need you to do this for me in return, or I need you to give me love regardless. Well, the thing is, there are no deals made when we are expressing unconditional love. There are no deals. You know, we're not sitting there dealing out a deck of cards and you're going to get an ace and I'm going to get a two, or I'm going to get an ace and you're going to get a three. No, it's the same energy all the time. And so people at this stage in this illusionary world that we find ourselves in, unconditional love will help you break through the illusions of the world that are around you. Unconditional love will allow you to free yourself from negativity. Unconditional love will allow you to unburden yourself from undue, unnecessary baggage. So, now we know what's conditional love. Conditional love is where you feel that you're just tied to the next person with no sense of freedom for yourself. Where conditional love is in you feel that you have to do this for someone because you're expecting something in return for it. You're expecting a favor. It's the same thing when we see this not only amongst couples but like in professional status. And I gave one last night. One of the things that people in the film industry, acting industry, entertainment industry deal with all the time at some point in their life. We've seen what they call the power couples. And some of those power couples only stay married like a year or 2 years, 6 months. Why? Because one of them doesn't have the necessary following that their PR person thinks they should have, that their agent feels they should have. And so what happens is there might be something or someone that that particular person that's lacking that attention needs. And so what they'll arrange for is to go have a marriage with someone whose energy level is much higher than their own. And so when somebody is seeking to have their energy much higher than their own, then what does that tell you? Well, what it tells you is this. It tells you, it gives you this idea, you see, that in this illusionary world that we're in, there's no true happiness in it. Like, you're not going to find the happiness. You got to create the happiness. So you got to create the happiness for yourself first. You have to be happy all the way through. Nowadays people say be joyful. Be joyful unto yourself. You've got to be overflowing with it. You can't expect your partner to bring you the joy, bring you the happiness, bring you the truth. You've got to be transparent enough where you're the one that's expressing it and that it's overflowing in your life. As it overflows in your life, hopefully you draw unto yourself someone who's on the same page with you. So again, you use examples of the entertainment field. Many, many times those people go through, not all of them are approached, but some of them have been approached at different parts of their career with having to sleep with somebody, sleep with a producer in order to get a role, or having to literally sell themselves short, meaning they take on a character that's not in line with who they are. Now, usually what happens, when people are starting in the industry, most people, they have to work their way up, They have to get themselves out of those B roles to get into an A role. And then when they become a successful star, like a successful film star, what usually happens is their agents help them get better roles every time. It's usually of a character that they want to portray, where they want to bring out a particular trait that's in alignment with themselves, or they see that this person is someone they can make, as they say, human. They could take a negative person in life and give them, quote unquote, a softer side, a softer edge, to show some of their weaker moments. So, unconditional love. Unconditional love is a principle. And what is a principle? A principle is a fundamental truth of all truths. Unconditional love is a maxim of truth, meaning it's the absolute. So if you could get yourself to that point, if any one of us can get ourselves to that point where we can exercise that divine principle, unconditional love, every moment of the day, then you will begin to notice that you're on the bridge called purpose. When you're on this bridge called purpose, you're doing it for a reason. But again, you're not expecting anything in return. You just know to do it. You know that you feel good doing it. It raises your self-esteem. Unconditional love can raise someone else's self-esteem. Can give another person value in your life. Eventually, at some point in that now moment, you will find that the presence of the spirit of divine grace kind of rolls into your life. And when you see the presence of divine grace rolling into your life, then that's uplifting you, making you feel even lighter, making you more magnetic, making you more electrical. So now you start getting in touch with everybody who can utilize, who can be blessed by the energy of unconditional love, because there's no strings attached. And we have many moments every day when we can express that unconditional love, when we can go out and demonstrate it in every moment. There are many beings around us, animals, in the animal form, I should say, who have unconditional love. They just love you. They're just there. They're in service to you with love. We have to recognize that they are. And again, sometimes we slip. We'll slip because we're in our own zones, in our own worlds. We might be experiencing some pain or some anger of our own, difficult situation that kind of takes us out of our comfort zone, out of our element of peace and harmony and happiness. And then we start acting otherwise. So, we come to this point in our lives where we can express this divine trait at some point. Usually, people, in this human form, get tired of a certain lifestyle, of a certain way of being. And in the process of getting tired, then one allows themselves to go to another level altogether. So, one of the things that we want to be aware of, then, there's this formula, and I just mentioned it. While you are about your daily tasks, living, expressing yourself, being more transparent, being carrying more integrity in your walk, showering yourself with better, higher self-esteem, the unconditional love that you have for yourself can now be done on purpose, meaning with a particular intention in mind. When you have a particular intention, that means you are willing this expression into action. And therefore, the result of your intention will draw unto you more unconditional love without you asking for it, more or less crowning you with it, making your life run easier. Gifts of certain values start to pop up in your life because you are expressing, you are living unconditional love. And as you begin to live that unconditional love, it's a way of life for you. Then you begin to experience uh, the divine blessing of grace in your life. Grace just comes to you, and you don't have to be the most perfect person. You don't have to score 100% on earth to have grace enter your life. You don't have to be 100% every day for grace to touch your life. It only takes a tad percentage. Some people, I think the guy's name was Benjamin Creme, Creme. I believe he was a British fellow. He wrote a book called The Mahatma, and it was actually 2 volumes. Um, Mahatma is like the wheel, the mother wheel of life. And the book called The Mahatma had 2 volumes. The first volume was his experience of having his consciousness ascend, with the various experiences and things that he learned along the way. And then the second volume in the book was the plan laid out of how he went about, how he realized how he could have this experience of ascension happening in the material physical world, in his consciousness. Well, now we have all of these tools. Unconditional love is one of those tools. Divine grace is the crowning glory. It's the top. It's the steeple. It's the point on the top of the antenna. It's the it. So, all of these wondrous experiences that appear to be magical in our lives, which are really just natural, they're not. They're like a miracle, but better than a miracle, because then you're at a certain plateau in your life where it just happens, and you know it's happening because you're doing everything correct for yourself. You're creating a balance for yourself over and over and over again, and as you create this balance for yourself over and over again, you allow yourself the opportunity to receive more grace in your life than you've ever had before. Your life is like an open door now, and everything and everyone is giving you more unconditional love back into your life. So then what you notice is that the spirit of unconditional love, the energy never runs out. It's just fulfilling you and overflowing in you, in your life. Things working themselves out because you're putting yourself in the circuit and in the currency of the energy itself, and you are therefore aligning to the energy, and you are specifically doing something repetitively enough times where all things begin to balance themselves around you. And we're often given times to, as they say, entertain the angel, entertain that divinity. Many times. Many times, someone can walk into your life, and they say, call it an angel in disguise, walks into your life, tests you. Now, you could be walking down the street, and you could say, man, I don't have any money on me to share with anybody else today. And there are other times you can have very little money on you, and you decide at that moment, with no money in the bank, you decide at that moment, okay, all I got is $3 or $4. I'll get my check in a few more weeks, or I'm going to sell a piece of artwork, or there's a certain service or product that I'm doing, and that money's coming in anyway. So then, whatever amount you happen to have on you, you intend for it to be used in a positive way. You intend for it to have much love behind the energy of it itself. Whether you're driving and walking, or riding a bike, or your motorbike, or your scooter, you come across someone who's in need. Now, yes, there are a lot of people pretending to be homeless, and they're not. There's people pretending to be wounded veterans, and they're not. But we don't know that for sure. So you're giving what you have in honesty, in integrity, with your unconditional love connected, the energy of it. Because you're blessing that other person, that other being. And as far as you're concerned, they need it. So, as far as you're concerned, you're able to bless them. And by blessing them, you are allowing yourself to see that they will be all right. And if you are paying attention, you will notice that your presence was brought there to give someone a present, a gift. Now, I go to a place every day, I stop through this gas station. It's about a 10-minute walk from my house, and I pick up something from there, maybe a newspaper. And there's a gentleman out there, and he's homeless. I've seen him around. And he's not an old person. He's a young man. I'm in my mid-60s. This young person, because he has to live in the street and those things right now and find a shelter wherever he can, but I can tell he's about 25, 26, 27 years of age. So he's been out there for a long time. And whenever I can, I know I have enough when I leave the house some days, if I sense that he's going to be there. And what is he usually doing? He's holding the door open for people. And he's not expecting anything. That's his blessing. He's not expecting anything. He's not asking you to give him one penny. He's just sitting out there. And usually what happens is people give him money anyway. Then you see him, he's smoking his cigarette or he's drinking some juice. There's some moments I can tell he hasn't had anything for 2 or 3 days. But I pray over what I have, and then I give it to him. Just the other day I saw him. I gave him $3 instead of $1. I gave him 3. See, we all always are in a position to do a little more. It's interesting. Sometimes the way I look at it is I'm not spending the money on something that I don't need. We all have those moments. Sometimes we can treat ourselves to something, lunch, a meal, whatever, or some nice clothes, or some records, some DVDs, some books, something else that we wanted. But we have to keep in mind we're not the only one in this world, so we might as well take a portion of what we have and tithe it to somebody. So I tithed him. So unconditional love. Add on that, add to unconditional love a purpose, a distinctive purpose that you're utilizing it for. And those two things alone, you're knowing what you're giving is pure value to whoever you come in touch with. Grace, you will discover, divine grace, you will discover, has always been there in your life. It's how you got that extra money in your pocket. How maybe it was a raise, or a scratch-off card, or a lottery hit. Grace, the energy called grace, in that moment came to you and opened the door for you to get there, to receive it. So I just wanted to bring that part up to you. And I wanted to make sure. Now, we have some people on viewing. Mercury retrograde is not allowing my chat room to flow. So, if you want to send me a question, if you are a friend of me on Facebook, Brother Francis Revels-Bey, or down there is Bishop Francis Revels-Bey, then all you got to do is go to my Facebook page, send me a message to my inbox, and then I will check it. In fact, I have my phone right here. I will check and see if you have a question. One of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to utilize a little bit of numerology. A little bit of numerology in this session. We know that this is 2016, 20, and 16. 20 plus 16 is 36. 30 and then 6. And any one of those numbers, when added together, gives you the number 9. So 20 you can reduce to a 2 and add that to a 16. You got 18, which is a 9. And 9 is asking you to fulfill something, to bring something to a close in your life, to sweep the stage, so to speak, to celebrate your life. Take a portion of your life and celebrate it. Maybe celebrate all of it. But nonetheless, celebrate your life. Celebrate someone else's life. Be the leader who you want to be. You're seeking a leader, so you become the leader. You're seeking an organizer in your life, you become the organizer. You're seeking a director, you become the director. You're seeking entertainment, you become your own entertainment. Entertain yourself. Find whatever can bring you happiness. Do that. It is all about the divine you. And what you are choosing in that moment. What are you impressing upon your subconscious mind? The subconscious, this is under the conscious self. What are you suppressing? And what are you pressing in there? What are you trying to get into yourself that needs to grow? See the subconscious mind as the soil of your consciousness. So what kind of seeds have you planted there that are gaining root? What kind of energy have you put into it to cultivate it? What kind of emotional energy to water those seeds? And as the seeds gain root, and as everything begins to germinate inside that consciousness, sooner or later you're getting these budding ideas that have to come out of you. So here we are in 2016. Yes, some prominent people have transitioned, but there's many people who are not prominent who have transitioned. You know, we hear about the celebrities, the well-known people who transition, but there's people transitioning all the time, so we don't get to hear about the non-popular folks. They were just important in someone else's life. So we want to like balance that process out, you know. There are people transitioning all the time, and there are people coming into the planet through birth all the time. 20 inside of the millennium of 2000 represents transformation, regeneration, generation, purification, and transcendence. That means this millennium, which the angel of grace brings to my consciousness, this is the age of remembrance. So all of 2000 is the age of remembrance. Then let's add on to that. Not only is this the age of remembrance, but this is the age of then what? Generation, regeneration, purification, restoration, transformation, transcendence. And we all get an opportunity to transcend. That means go a little beyond, go over from where you are into something new. Growing into your divine conscious self, into your divinity, knowing who you are. Knowing that you have the ability to make changes because you're doing it in your everyday life. From moment to moment, you are transcending yesterday. You're transcending this morning, early afternoon. You have transformed. You have changed the form of your consciousness. You have changed the form of your consciousness. You have overcome some bad habits, overcome some stagnated energy, overcome some stuff that's in the past, that's baggage that you're carrying from one lifetime to the next, from day to day. You overcome moodiness, addictions of some sort, and then you're stepping in to your power. So this is a time of self-improvement at its height. Self-empowerment at a higher height for yourself. Self-empowerment. You are allowing yourself, giving yourself that opportunity to go beyond who you thought you were. So that means you're breaking down limitations and barriers. Other people can't see you anymore in the way that they wanted to see you. They have to see you in the way that you desire for them to see you. So that is a good thing. 2016. The 16 is the ability to pay attention to the flash of intuition that comes to you, to that intuitive nature that's telling you, go ahead, you can do it, you'll be fine. Go ahead, speak your mind, you'll be fine. Go ahead and invent that new car, that new machine, you'll be fine. Everything will align themselves to you, you will be alright. But the flip side of that is the fall from grace, so to speak. And that's where people are doing something outrageous that is, in the end, hurtful to someone else and others. Be it taking advantage of somebody financially, taking advantage of somebody emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, making yourself appear to be better than someone else when you're not. Applying psychology in a negative way on somebody so that you're making them feel bad, that you're demeaning them. So that's the flip side of the 16. 16 deals with the power of addiction and being addicted to power. 16 is the power of addictions and being addicted to power. 16 also means watch out for triangular situations. So if you are someone who is very close to two other friends, and those two friends are partners with each other, but they both like having you around, because maybe you're the single guy or the single woman. But at some point, you've got to take a stance. You got to remember, I am not them, and they are not me. So when you find yourself in sticky situations where you feel like you almost got to take sides, that's the downside of the 16. That's the power of that addiction, being that third wheel. And being addicted to that position, because then you're the one that gets to say yay or nay to either person when they need to be saying it to themselves. And you just allow yourself to be just a spectator. So, 2016. You're going to transform. You're going to change the way that you're doing things. Change the way that you're thinking about things, people, conditions, situations. And you're going to turn it to your favor. Instead of being a physical warrior, you're going to allow yourself to be a spiritual warrior. Standing up for the truth. But the first truth is your own truth. That's in alignment with the divine truth. So when you can exercise that frequently, diligently, and also consistently, without missing a step, but being elevated along the way, then again, you've done it purposefully, and then grace or divine grace has entered your life. You realize it's been there the whole time before, taking you forward and blessing you along the way. What we mean by blessing you, perhaps giving you more sense of freedom with yourself, giving you more joy and happiness and peace, or I say harmonic peace, sending you more prosperity, more abundance in your life, giving you a healthier way of thinking and living, giving you this sense of regalness, royalty, that you didn't have or see in yourself before. Seeing yourself improve your life. So the first person, 2016, is love yourself. Contemplate on loving yourself and being of service to yourself, of your divine nature, and making it balanced in this material world that you are in. And while you're making it more balanced in the material world, then serve that in its perfect form to yourself and to others, so that others can be blessed by that opportunity that you present to them. You want to be able to give. You want to be able to give, give, give. This is important. Your giving allows others to be free, you know. Your giving allows others to be happy. Your giving allows others to be able to express themselves. Because they're watching you express yourself. And they see that you do it freely and that you're comfortable with it and that you're consistent. I mean, how many people out there watching this right now who may see this later, people in the audience who may see this later, ask yourself a question. Would you rather have a neighbor who's consistent and not talking to you as well as, or a neighbor who talks to you one time, don't talk to you the next time? Have you experienced that? Living next door to someone, you come out of the house and you see them there, so you nod your head, you say good morning or good afternoon, good evening, and they just give you this mean look. Like, why are you talking to them? You're just trying to lay out peace, harmony, and happiness in your neighborhood. So sometimes you got to realize that if someone ain't speaking to you, someone is not speaking to you, don't take it personal. Maybe that person is going through some stuff, and you don't need that stuff on top of you. But if you show more consistency with being who you are, show more consistency, that you do the same thing, you express yourself the same way over and over again, then guess what? Eventually, we say that's your presence rubs off on that person because they notice you're being consistent. They notice you're not taking anything personal when they growl in your direction. 2016. You're the spiritual warrior. And all spiritual warriors sooner or later become spiritual healers. And all spiritual healers sooner or later become a spiritual warrior. And then they recognize they are one and the same. Start observing yourself. Start checking to see if you are the healer or the warrior and how to blend them together. Take notes. Be more observant. So it is now 5:43, which is 7:43 p.m. Eastern, 6:43 p.m. Central, 4:43 p.m. Pacific Time, and 5:43 p.m. Mountain Time. I said I wanted to talk about numerology, so I just did it. I wanted to do some readings. I don't know who's tuned in, but my chat is not functioning. But if you're viewing and you happen to be in the chat room, you can send me your question in a private inbox message to Facebook, and I'm going to check it in a second and see what your question is. But let me do it this way. Let me just take the first letter of any first name and talk about it. The first letter of any first name is sort of like what we call in numerology the cornerstone. It is the foundational part of you that everything else is built upon. Your character, the certain traits that you have, the way that you talk and express yourself to others, the way you listen, the way you are very observant. All is based on that first letter. So, if your first name begins with the letter A, here's my message for you. If your first name starts with the letter A. Well, first of all, one of the things you want to know is that you're a very independent person. You almost have a free spirit about you. You are one who can handle challenges. You go throughout life being presented with problems. You're the problem solver. You will struggle in the early part of your stages of life, but eventually you come through because you are an independent thinker and an independent doer. You are a team player when you have to be, but you are definitely a leader. When you look at the letter like this, right, and then it has the bar going across, if you would put a bar at the legs, you would have the alchemical symbol for air. So anybody with the letter A in their name, they are able to connect themselves mentally with others. That the power of the mind is already working for them. But here's another thing about the letter A. If you put those two bars there so that they're parallel, you connect the two legs, as well as the bars at the top, and you flip it upside down, then you have the alchemical symbol for earth. So that means in the earth plane, you strive at being practical, down to earth. You try to create a balance at all times. You represent a sturdy foundation at all times. Now, if we took that middle bar out, we just had an inverted triangle, the alchemical symbol would be water. Emotions, the psychic side, empathic nature, feelings, sometimes gut feelings, being emotional, sensitive. And if you took that upside down triangle and flipped it up, so the point is up with no bar in there other than the two legs still attached, you would have the alchemical symbol for fire. Fire is pure, intuitive, kinetic, telepathic kind of energy. Direct, force. And all of that came out of the letter A. So that means you understand the spirit behind these energy fields. So it brings you to a fifth element. You understand the spirit behind these energy fields. Nothing escapes your awareness session, your everyday dealings. Nothing gets past you. I'm leaning here because I wanted to see how many viewers, so I'm not going to fall out of the chair. The letter B. You have a first name that starts with the letter B. Now the value for the letter A using the Chaldean system of numerology is 1. It's number 1. If you are this person who has the letter B in your name, first name, the letter B tells us that you like to grow stuff. You are a man or woman all about growth. You like to make sure that everybody is receiving something from you that you grew with your own hands. That's what number 2. See, number 2 they're the partnership people. 2s like to make sure that there's some balance going on in the world. That's what 2s like to do. 2s like to make sure there's a sense of balance happening at all times. Think of 2B like birth. 2 elements, 2 parents. 2 essences, an egg and a sperm, brought together, this individual, this being. So B's, those of you who have the letter B, you enjoy partnerships and friendships. You like teamwork efforts. That's what you enjoy. Letter A can be on the team, but sooner or later A is going to be the director, the leader, the teacher, the coach. B can be a coach, but B would rather be a team player. You're a builder. That's what you do. You build relationships. If you got the letter B as a first name, you're building relationships all the time. You could be a salesperson. You're going to build that relationship. See, you're going to build that relationship because you understand how things are. You know how things can be. So here you are with the letter B as your first name. Now, we have a question from my good friend Marie. And you said, now I'm gonna, I'm doing numerology, but I'm keeping it open too. I didn't mention that. I want to keep it open to any kind of question that could pop up. And Marie's question is a dream of healing with a scale shaped vision like a fish, but wasn't a fish. More like, more like the letter U. Was it? I see you have a series of U's here. Are you saying that it was moving up and down type of U, like a snake, serpent, more like? Fish in old dream books, fish used to always represent pregnancy. Now it seems in the scale, so you might be looking at what are you measuring within you, within your life. What kind of things are you measuring in your life that are leading or warranting some form of creativity to be birthed into your life? Okay, you said yeah or yay. Did I touch it right for you? Yes, healing. Something in your life that was being born into your life. Oh, no scales. A fish with no scales. Bear. Because the scales on the fish are protective for the fish in the element that it swims through. So if there's no scales on the fish, then there is some sense of being bare, being clean, or being clear. When people eat fish, one of the things they do, what they cut the shells away to get to the skin, right? So that means that whatever is coming into your life, you don't have to necessarily protect yourself from it. And and in that fact that you don't have to protect yourself from it, then you're expecting, oh yes, scales. Okay. Well, if it had no scales, then you are accepting the healing factor as it is. If there if there is scales, if there are no scales, if there are no scales on the fish, you're accepting how it came in, how the healing comes to you. Or you're hoping that the healing for the person is doing its job because it's not burdened by anything. But if it had scales on it, then it's some difficulty for the person receiving the healing. I think I got your message. So, what we want to do is we want to understand that. Now, interesting, in numerology, the letter F gets the number 8 without even working out the entire word. But if we could, we have fish, right? So that's 8, 1, because the letter I is a 1. The letter S is a 3, and the letter H is a 5. So that's 8, 1, 3, that's 12, and 5, that's a 17, which is an 8, which is interesting, okay? So it was a healing dream about a fish, and it got the number 8. So what the dream is telling you to do is find a way to unburden yourself of any form of limitation or restriction going on in your life. That's the downside of the 8. The upside of the 8 would be finding more ways to bring prosperity and abundance into your life. Finding more ways to bring prosperity and abundance into your life. So that might mean that perhaps in the dream is suggesting that whatever has begun, whatever something that you've put into motion just recently, you need to give it some time so you can see how to work it out. So you might have to switch your recipe around, just like if you're baking a cake and you're baking this cake for the first time. You got all the ingredients, but since you're baking the cake for the first time, you're not exactly sure, even if you follow the directions word for word, you're not exactly sure how that cake is going to come out, despite all the ingredients being right there. All the ingredients being present, but you're still not sure. So, the fish in the dream is the number 8, the letter F, but it still added to 8 a 17, which was an 8. Yes, a 17. And 17 is an Aquarius vibration. So it means that if you've been praying for a positive outcome, you're going to receive a positive outcome. Since they're scales or no scales, it means it could be, the outcome could be difficult in the beginning until you see it work itself out, or it just might run smoothly. See, we're not sure because um, everything did not manifest itself clearly yet. But the bottom line is that I got you on my phone. Now the bottom line is that you had to move your consciousness in a direction and be absolutely observant and absolutely aware. And then that's why there's a sense of healing that's there. Because healing presents wholeness. Healing means you're not wanting for anything. You're not worried about anything. You're not worried about how your life will go, if you'll be taken care of. You could have X amount of dollars and everything in place and still not feel comfortable. But yet you know that you've got sources or streams. Fish swims in a body of water. It can swim in the stream. So the fish is that the healing thing that you're doing is this fish, and you want to make sure that the river or the current of energy is free. So that if there's finances being involved, or if there's a healing that has to take place for a person, that you know that they'll be all right. There would be no doubt in your mind that the person would not be okay, because you see the fish swimming. It's not struggling. Not struggling at all. Okay. I like questions. It just lets me know that I can handle most of them. The letter C. C is a very magnetic letter. It's sort of like a U on its side. C is sort of like a crescent of the moon. Or it could be half of the moon. Or it could be the horns. Like, the symbol. The symbol for the symbol of Taurus, all right, is a circle, which could be the solar energy, it could be the earth energy, it could be fulfillment, and then it has the C, the crescent, right on top. So it has that crescent energy on top, that lunar energy on top. So it's like hinting at the sun and the moon together. C, when we say C, we're thinking CEEC, but we could be saying SEEC at the same time. It allows, the letter C has the ability to work toward completion. It's that magnetic. Think of it like a horseshoe is working toward completion. Yet the 2 points aren't touching yet. In fact, the next time you see yourself write the letter C either in script form or better in block letter form, see if you closed it. See how big the C is. See how small it is. It would be interesting. It would be interesting because there's some part of you that's allowing something in. So if the I'm gonna call them the tines or tongues of the sea, if they're wide open, it means you're ready to receive something big, like a catcher's mitt, something big. But if it's closed down, you're willing to have something but release something at the same time. That's what the letter C. People have the first letter in their name. They like to receive a lot, but they will share some of the things that they have received. Unlike the letter B, which is they stand upright and the two C's are in reverse connected to the spine. So they're full in their chest and their heart, and they're full in their belly at the same time, but they didn't release anything yet. But the letter C says, I can give you something. Well, how about the letter D? Letter D is 4. Letter D is 4 vibration. You're checking the time, we got plenty of time. The letter D is 4. Think of D like a doorway, a gateway. It's the C in reverse with a stem, but the stem doesn't go beyond the top nor the bottom. So it's definitely holding on to something. So door can mean that it's a closed door, not an open door. But the letter D is definitive of a floor plan. Something has to be set into motion. It just can't be chaotic. Where C, which is the letter 3, likes to be a little bit more open and creative. I'll hold some things, I'll share some things. D says I'll hold on to it for a while. I'll take it into consideration, and let me look into the past of what I've done previously before I release some information in your direction. That's the letter D. Before I open myself up, let me see what I have on the inside first. The letter E, very interesting. We're looking at letters in a block format. So if you would have, the letter E has a vertical line with 3 horizontal lines equally spaced. One at the top, one at the bottom, and one in the middle. Now sometimes we've seen this written a little differently. We've seen the stem in the middle shorter than the parts above and beneath. So you might think of the letter E almost like a block lettered C with an additional line, I should say. E has to do with memory, perfect memory. Now, I say perfect memory, but others might call it photogenic memory, if that's the proper word. That's not the proper word, but what I want to say is that they see something for the first time and they hold it in their mind for a long time, in its exact detail. So E's, people with the letter E, they can be easygoing. They can be very electrical in their personality, very animated. They love to have fun. They are very inquisitive. They seek out freedom all the time. E now is unique. Think of the letter E as always creating some level of storage and the ability to reach great heights and to be able to categorize one's life. This is the letter E. It likes to categorize one's life. So they can rise to the top, see from the top and survey, come to the bottom and look just what's in the immediate area. And that middle rung to pull themselves up to see a little further. E is very interesting because if you make the legs, the extension parts, if you make the extension parts of the E balanced and then turn it on its side, you have a block lettered W, and if you flip it so it's on its legs, it's a block lettered M. So it kind of lets you know that that E has a connection to W and M. And W and M are reflections of each other. W's and M's are reflections of each other, and E is right in the middle of it being both. E can emanate both. It can reflect both. It can copy both. So E's are outgoing folks. They like having fun and they like partying and they like talking. So they do what they can to interact. Yes, photographic memory. Thank you. Thank you, Marie. E's have photographic memory. They see something, they got it. I have a friend back east. She has photographic memory. You could take her someplace, out of her neighborhood, out of her a city. She lives on Long Island in New York, and take her to Manhattan. One time, guess what? She remembers that exact route that you took. She remembers the exact location of the place, and if it was a restaurant, she remembers something very unique about it. En route, she remembers things that are very unique along the way. Now, there are other people that have photographic memory, not necessarily of places, but of the things that you might tell them. I have another friend. I could tell that friend, um, I'm going to be by your house on the third week of June. And I'll stay on a Saturday. I'm going to be there at 3 o'clock. Now, it could slip my mind if I didn't write it down. When that week shows up, 9 times out of 10, that person will remind me, are you coming by still? This is the third week of June. And it's, third Saturday. You're gonna come on by about 2 o'clock. And you're gonna bring that book with you that you were telling me about. And I'll be like, what? That's because not only does the person have a photographic memory, but they listen pretty well. Now, there's some people that have photographic memories that aren't listening to you, and vice versa. They listen well, but they may not remember anything that they may say. Sometimes you come across people like that as well. Well, the letter E got the value of 5. Now, what I want to do is, so that I speed this up a little bit. Do I have to speed it up? No, I don't have to speed it up at all. I'm still good. The number 6. This is using the Chaldean numerology. The letter U. Now, the letter U is half of the letter V or half of the letter W. The letter U. It always has a little stem on it. If it's lowercase, sometimes you might think of the letter U sort of like the letter C, almost like a horseshoe, almost like a magnet. So U is like a cup, just like the C is a cup, but the U means you got to fill the cup up, and as they say, let it run over in order to get more into it, to tip it over. So a letter U is like a cup. It will retain something that you have given it until it cannot take any more. So think of people who have first names that start with U. Ursula, Yulana. There's got to be some other names. Ulysses. Ulysses S. Grant. Ulysses. Just think of it. If you knew people whose names began with the letter U, you just observe to see how much they can receive. How much information can they retain before they start to express it or release it? How much can they put up with before they get upset with the letter U? We might think of the letter U, if we turn it upside down, almost partially like the letter M or N. It's just a thought. The letter U is the value of 6. So U's can receive. They love to embrace. They love to be embraced, and they love to issue embraces. They love to hug. No accident that the letter U is in the word hug. So they love to hug you. They love to give of themselves. Value of 7, though, under the Chaldean system is the letter O. O is like the Alpha and Omega. It's complete unto itself. It's like the womb. It can receive or hold on to something until it's time to release it. So you might say the letter C is a little bit like the O. The letter U is a little bit like the O. The letter B is a little bit like the O. This is just in this capital form. Lowercase script, letter E could be a little bit like a C, a U, turned on its side, and an O. But think of the O as completion. I had a friend in school, grade school. His name was Orenthal. He was the only person in that school that had that name, Orenthal. There's another Orenthal too, but he's locked behind bars. He was a great professional athlete and got himself into trouble. Now he's behind bars. But he is named O as well, Orenthal. Orenthal. I've never looked up that name to see what it meant. One day I'll look it up. Orenthal. But I had a friend who had that. We used to just call him O. We used to call him O. But he was a very handsome guy. He walked kind of bow-legged. I remembered him. Played football, walked bow-legged, and he ran track, and he played lacrosse or basketball. I think he played basketball one year, and he played lacrosse another year. Lacrosse is a springtime kind of sport, so he couldn't do the track and the lacrosse at the same time. But he was very proficient in football, and not only just sports. He was very good in science, and he wound up being a psychologist, by the way, and a social worker. So he understood people quite well. So I'm going to say that people with the letter O, they are pretty much a good judge of character. They understand people, and they are very observant, like the O of their name. They capture and hold on to information and use it. It's whether they're going to use it productively or be non-productive with the information. That's the letter O. Now we touched upon the letter A with the F. So I'm kind of going this way. On your screen it's this way. So instead of going back to number 1, I'm going to start right at the letter 8 again. We looked at F. F is sort of half a P, and a half a E is an F. Think like a flag. It's got 2 bars out there. F likes sometimes we use numerology. Sometimes you want to take letters and give a certain tag so that you remember. So under the Chaldean system, F getting the value of 8, one word that could come to your mind could be 4 twice. That's the letter F, 4 twice. 4 times 2, that's 8. That's the letter F. Gets 8. Flag, 8. That's what it means to you. You got to kind of give it some tags so that it makes sense to you. Well, underneath there is the letter P. P as in Paul, Peter. Peter, Paul, and Mary. No, P, Paul. Well, P is the C in reverse with the stem. If you had a mirror and drew the letter P in a capital or lowercase, you put the mirror right to the top part, you would see its reflection as a lowercase b. So P is like a B, like a D, see, lowercase. But when it's standing up, it's very much like the F. It connects to 2 legs, 2 points, 2 arms. P is 8. So anybody with a name of P, they're good handling money. I've seen a lot of Peters and Pauls and Paulettes and Paulas handle their money well. P is just good at it. They know how to retain information. They know what kind of information they're looking for. They know how to research things out quite well. They know how to deal with details quite well. They know how to add things up. They got their math down. At least the basics of math. Adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, they got that down pat. Pat. So they're very observant people. People with the letter P. Number 8. They can deal with any form of restrictions and limitations. And when they do, they're able to advance themselves. So P, like an F, is good at harvesting. Once they understand the terrain that they're on, once they understand the hurdles and the obstacles that they have to deal with, they make it happen one way or the other. They make it happen. In other words, what happens is F and P, which both get the value of 8, they have the tendency to stick to something until they see it work. And if they're not seeing something work, even if they change the ingredients and they still don't see it work, F or P people abandon ship and they do something else. But what they normally do is this. They will do something that they are comfortable with or something they have an interest in. And they'll make that thing work. In other words, they could have an interest in music, an interest in playing the saxophone, and as a hobby, have been playing the saxophone as a hobby their entire life. And then they go out and they start playing in clubs with bands. Why? Because they know what they can do now. They just go out and do it. They just have to get adjusted to an audience. They are familiar with the terrain, the environment, the people in it. Well, let's go back now. Letter with the value of 7 is the letter Z, like zebra or Zorro. So, underneath the column of 7 is Oz, O-Z. So what you'll realize is the letter Z, Xavier, with a Z. Now there's Xavier that's been spelled with an X as well. Zelda. I knew somebody in school, in grade school, her name was Zelda. She was very unique. Well liked, had a lot of energy. Busybody. She couldn't sit for nothing. But guess what? She was smart. She couldn't sit a long time in class. But when she sat down and took the test, Zelda always scored an A. Very rarely she got a B plus, B minus. Turned out that Zelda was in the upper 10th percent of the state, in the entire state, in math and Regents. Very bright person. So people have the letter Z. They're very unique. Think of the Z like the thunderbolt. They could take information that appears to be over their head and somehow translate that information so that they understand it in a more physical way. In other words, Z's can take abstract information and make it practical. That's what people with the letter Z can do. They take something that is abstract, take it out of its element, but it's still true. They know it's true. They take it out of its element and they put it someplace else and make it more comfortable for them to work with. That's the letter Z. So Z then would be good at understanding foreign languages. Z people would be good at documentaries, research, medical research. They can do a lot of things. They're people oriented. They're like the letter S. They love to talk. They love to communicate. They love to be heard. Well, the letter V gets the value of 6. The letter V. V is one half of that structured W. So V, like the U, and like a W. In fact, U, V, and W under the Chaldean system get the number 6. And all of them do what? Hold information. U, V, and W are a part of a sine wave. An up and down motion, sine wave. So V's can what? They can hold on to a point. I'll say it that way. Hold on to a point because their information is coming to a point. So it's like a valley in there. They capture, and then everything that they are picking up, they're picking it up in a measured sense. Everything that they're receiving can be measured out accordingly. Same with the U, same with the W, the letter V. Powerful names. Victor, Vincent. These names are what? Victorious. Victor, Vincent, Vinny, short for Vincent. Valerie, Victoria, Vern. Powerful name. Usually they get exactly what they want most of the time. Most of the time they're very successful. They may not always understand everything, but eventually they get it. And they're also retaining information like a letter E. They retain information quite well. Well, we can go to W. W is double V. W. Same thing. Giving. Receive and release. Receive and release. Receive and release. That's what W does. V's and U's got to receive first, get full, and then tip over. W's receive and release. Most people whose names start with a W gets the value of 6. They're rulers. Waynes, Williams, Wendells, Wilma. These are strong personalities. Strong. Wilmas, in fact, are will ma, mother's will. Strong will. Can't budge. Can't budge that person. Williams receive, they analyze information, and they spit it back out. Almost in the same way that you gave it to them, or they'll put their spin on it, or put their understanding on it. It was like the guy in R&B, I think he's from Jamaica, from Haiti in fact. His name is William, but he called himself Will I Am. As to say, I am the will. I am forceful. These are names of power. Names of power. Willard. Willard. Not slow, but Willard. Sees all. Can see everything. Observes everything and moves accordingly. Could be a dictator. Could be a tyrannical leader if you want. Could be one of the best leaders because they see everybody in a fair manner. That's the letter W. Under the 5, we have H, N, and X. Think of H. Wow. 2 C's connected. 2 U's connected. So H has got that bar in between, like a field goal. Striving to receive something and then plant something onto the earth. The same force as receiving, same force as releasing. That's the letter H. A lot of people like that. Harolds, Henrys. Harolds and Henrys got strong energy. Harolds should learn to laugh. Ha. Henrys, everything should be related to him or her. What is he doing? What is she doing? Henry. Henry's a ruling kind of a name. Harold's a ruling kind of a name as well. Harry, of course, is short for Harold. Then you got N. Nancy, Nina, Napoleon, Norma, or normal. What else you can see with the letter N? Nona. There's so many more. But the letter N, sort of like the letter W, sort of like 2 V's, one down and one up. That's the best way to remember an N. One down and one up, and they're connected. The letter H is like the letter I on its side. But here you have N. N is energy. Energy. E, H, and N is there, right? And we also said that the X is there. When you have the perfect X, people say X is hexing. X could be the plus sign or the multiple sign. But X in certain things like runes, and X, perfect X drawn, is partnership, the gift of partnership. It's not only just two bars crossing, but it's two V's on their side connecting at the point. That's an X. Actually, it's four: an up, a low, a east, a west. Four V's converging at their points create an X. Isn't that interesting? And what is X doing? Gathering and receiving. What above, so below. As within, so without. It's doing everything. X represents being in the middle. So people who have the names like Xavier, or you see an X in the name Alexandra and Alex, these people understand partnerships. They understand the partnership between the heavens and the earth, the water and the air, the young and the old, the male and the female. They understand all of that. And they're not juggling it, they get it. X's are very important. X is not necessarily meaning the unknown. X in a name means something can be speeded up. And they still get it. Things can be moving quickly. They still get it. Value 4, we spoke of the letter D. Well, you got M and T. The letter M, which is a W upside down. The letter M is three V's connected. Just draw the letter M in a capital form. You're going to see one V right side up in the middle, and the other two V's connected to it with the points up. Isn't that interesting? The letter M is a mothering factor. Letter M is a giver and a receiver, all at the same time. Letter M gives and receives. And protective. Mothers protect their young, their children, their mates. M, mated, wedded, mated. So the letter M can give off a certain amount of electrical charge. It's a kind of a M sound. It's almost a water sound, but it's an electrical sound at the same time. It's a buzzing sound when you're around the letter M. Michael, Mary, Marie, Martha, Marilyn, Merlin, with a Merlin and Merlyn. I had a client, a Jamaican client back east. Her name was Merlene. Isn't that something? Merlene. And she's a wizard when it came to working. That lady could work a lot of jobs, handle a lot of personalities, made a lot of money, handled her two sons. She was something else. Merlene. And she spelled it Merry, Merlene. So Merlynne. Merlene. That's how she would write it. I would think, well, if it's Merle, Meryl, then it should be an Eane. She said, no, I spell it this way, and that's the way it's spelled. Merlene. Merlin. She was a very nice lady. Very, very nice. She would like, I was a person that didn't drive a lot as I got older. She would send her two boys out to get me. Mr. Bey, I need a reading. Mr. Bey, let me know when you come. I will send my boys after you. That's how she used to say it. I will send my boys after you. They will pick you up, Mr. Bey, and they will bring you to my house. And then she had a dog named Money, German Shepherd. I asked her, why did she call the dog Money? Because he ate a crisp Not an old, a crisp $100 bill. And they have the picture of him with the money out of his mouth. He chewed up $100 bill. So they called him Money. But she would pronounce it Moni. Moni, come here, Moni. I remember when I first came to the house, I thought I was going to die. Moni came charging to live in a split level house. I walked up, he was charged, I had no place to go. He wanted me to hug him. And every time I gave a reading, he made sure he was in the kitchen getting the reading or the dining room. And where did he sit? Always by my side. He would sit right next to me, as if he needed to get a reading too. He was something else, Moni, and her name was Merlene. Well, anyway, that's the letter M. M is a very giving letter. People who have the letter M, they're also very strong people. They should not be looked at as weak. They are very strong people. Because look, they got 3 V's in their name. They're going to be victorious wherever they are. M is like a mountain. Climbing up the mountain, coming down. They're going to be victorious. They are the givers. They are the giving their family. They protect in their family. They do everything right. Now, and then that goes for Michael, Michelle in French. The double L with the E, that's the feminine. Michel, that's French, which is the more masculine gendered name. There's Marvin, Marvin. So these names that start with M, they're power names. They see, just like the letter O, they see things going on around them and they connect into them. They understand the power of energy. They understand the power of the moment. Then you have the letter T, like Thomas. 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 Or Tom. Thom or Tom or Thomas. Tomas. Tom. The letter T. Perpendicular line. Interesting. It's like 2 L's back to back, standing up in reverse. T's can, people with the name starting with T, what you'll observe is that they could go through a lot of life's issues. They could have a lot of turbulence in their life. A lot of anger that they're confronted with, be it their own anger or anger with siblings, friends, you name it. Sooner or later they overcome it. And those with the letter T, they are able to stand alone. And they can be supportive to other people. That's the letter T. So they learn to be supportive to other people. That's how they pull themselves out of the muck and mires that they find themselves in. So that means they know how to measure things out. Like the other letters. The Darnells and the Daniels and the Donnas. Formidable people. Marie's, Michael's, Marvin's, formidable people. Thomas, Tom, formidable. Strength. They usually have a strength of character that you have to get adjusted to when you're around them. They can be quiet but powerful. They're like your power players, they're your supporters. Anyone whose first name that starts with letter D, M, or T, valued at 4 under the Chaldean. Then the value of 3. Now we talked about the letter C. So the other letters in the Chaldean system are L, G, and S. Now that L is half of the T. And L's are, think of L like a ladder. L, ladder. Life. L. So L's give life. That's the Lawrences and the Larrys. They give life to life to a party. You invite an L to your party, you're going to have a good time. No doubt in your mind. You're going to have an excellent time as long as somebody in there has that L as the first name. They're bringing the party. They're upright, and they sometimes act as guardians and watchers in the party. And they have this ability to bring things down and make it simple. Your Lawrences, your Larrys. They will make something simple. Now, there's some other names, it just doesn't come to me, that start with an L. But you get what I'm trying to tell you, is that people with the letter L as the first name, they are very intelligent people. And they like to keep things simple. And whatever they do, they can measure it out. So if you go into business with someone with the letter L, you can depend on them. They will make sure bills are paid on time. They'll make sure money coming in is correct. They'll make sure bank statements are correct. Nothing's off because you got a letter L there. The letter G. G's are generous people. These are your Garys. These are your Geralds with a G. They like having a lot of people around them. They like being the life of the party or being part of the team. They can also rise to the top and be a good leader, good manager, supervisor. They could be a CEO. They love dealing with wherever there's a lot of activity. This is Gerald. This is Geraldine. This is Grace. Uh, they're generous folks. Generous Gary. Very generous. Very giving, but also very astute. When you draw that capital G, there's a bar going across the bottom line that curves up. So what does that tell you? That tells you serve them with manners. Serve them with good manners. Serve them with insight, things that they could use. But also be willing to listen to what they have to share with you. So G personalities, they are giving, they are generous to a fault, they like to share, they will listen, but when they are talking, they want to be heard. They want you to listen to them as well. And don't think that they don't know anything because they know a lot of things. G people, they're studious. Like an L, they go out, have a good time like a letter E, a letter U, a letter C, a letter D, a letter B. They'll go out and have a great time, but they know how to cut. That's what that bar is about. They know when to stop the flow. They know when they need to take a break. They know when to go to a party and when to leave a party. People with the letter G ain't going to be hanging out all night long with you. When they want to go home, they want to go home. Let them go home. That's the letter G. Very creative, very outspoken, and they like to communicate. They're very joyful. They like festive activity, and they like activity that can be a little laid back too. It doesn't have to be gaudy though. They don't like stuff that's gaudy. And G's don't like loudness too much. They can be around having a great time, but when they need to get some rest, they need to go get some rest. Those are letter G's. The letter S. Now this is good to know about the letter S. The letter S is like two C's attached in reverse at the bottom stems connecting. Another thing you want to notice about the S is that you should know that the S represents the serpentine energy, the spiraling energy. So hidden inside the letter O is the letter S. If you've ever seen the symbol for Taoism, it has two paisley shapes, and in the middle is the S line right in the center. So the letter O captures within it the letter S. So S is the serpentine, it's the kundalini energy. It's how the energy flows in a spiraling manner. It's the letter S. Samuel, Samson, with a P and without a P. Selena, Sharon, Cheryl, See, that means that if you get those people mad, Cheryls and Sharons, especially Cheryls that start with an S, you get them upset, you got a war in your hand. Cheryl with a C, you get her upset, I'm not gonna be upset that much. I'll let it go, move on. But S, ooh-wee, S will come back and get you every time. S will wait till you quiet down and then get you, because then you got to build your energy up fast. But S already has the energy like screaming at the top. So S is the spiritual warrior, the physical warrior, but S is the spiritual healer. S is the Kundalini energy. Keeping it in balance is this part of the spiraling force of energy, part of the Tao of the yin and the yang. It's right in the between. Think of S as success. S. Getting the value of 3. S's are also very observant, and they're also very giving, very generous. The letters K and R under the Chaldean system get the value of 2. Now, this is what you got to know about K. K is the principled side of the S. K represents the virtues of the serpentine energy. And if you look at the letter K, you're looking also at 3 V's. 3 V's. So K looks like an F. If you take the upper bar and move it down toward the middle a little bit, don't let it touch the middle bar, and then bring the 2 stems together to a point so they touch the vertical. Now you've got 1 V, a second V, and a V in the middle. You got 3 V's. And where did I tell you that you saw the 3 V's before? There are 3 V's in the capital letter M. M has 3 V's. But here, you got a vertical line, like the spinal column, vertical line, capturing information and releasing information, receiving information directly. The letter K. K is considered the virtuous quality of the serpentine energy. It likes to have it all together. Serpentine quality, that's K, virtue. K is people who have the letter K are virtuous individuals. Karens with a K. Kathy with a K. Karen, Karin. Living under the roof of virtue. What is virtue? Moral excellence. Or we used to say in the old Moorish Science Temple, virtue is an angel of the 5th highest rank. 5th dimensional personality had virtue. Virtuous means you got some magical abilities. You can make things happen. So Karens, Keith, they're strong people. They like to keep energy going and coming. They like to be in the middle of the traffic. They have a tendency to take things and keep their back to the wall, but taking on things. Letter K. Value of 2 under the Chaldean system. Then comes R. R is solar energy. R. R is so strong. If you look at it, it's the letter P, capital P, with a V inverted. The letter R is the capital P with a V inverted. Or it's the capital P, or the upper part of the capital letter B is P or R, and then the bar coming out. That bar coming out about 45-degree angle, or a little less. R is strength, strong-willed mind, good heart, know where they're going, got direction, and they will rule. So think of names with R's. Ronald, Reginald, Reggie, short for Reginald. Ron, short for Ronald. Ronnie, short for Ronald. My last name, Revel. Gotta have a good time. The R's like to have a good time. So if you were to take some of this that I was giving you tonight, we're gonna finish it off shortly. If you were to take some of the information that I gave you tonight, you would be able to literally interpret a person's name. You get some insight about a person's name. So let's finish this up. The value of one under the Chaldean system. We talked about the letter A. A was everything. It's the four elements plus the ethers or spirit. So we also have the letter I. Now you take the letter I, capital I, with the bar going across the top and a bar going across the bottom and the stem in the middle, perfectly in the middle. This is someone who has backbone. This is someone who could channel spiritual energies and translate them into the lower, transform them, transcend them into the lower range, or vice versa. There's a lot of fire that this person can carry. You take that capital I, and you will see the capital what? You'll see the capital T embedded in the capital I. You'll see the capital L embedded in the capital I, and you'll see the letter H in there as well. Very unique, huh? How all of these things are put together. And part of the E is hidden in the letter I. So all of those letters, block letters like this, have some connection. Well, we think of I as the first person talking, as I. You're talking about yourself. I is more commanding, right? Then there's I am, the name of God. I am, and then it influences whatever comes after it. Then you got the letter J. Think of the letter J like a cane with a T at the end. But here, a bar going across, a stem coming down, and then a hook, like a hook on a door, or a hook when you go fishing on the end of a line. J, John. So Johns like to bring you in. They like to hook you into their life. They like to be connected to something. Johns and James and Geralds, Jerald. They depend upon themselves more than others. These are people with the letter J. Jurel, Jurrel, or Rrell. So they are themselves. They are strong unto themselves, but they like to stay connected or have others connected to them. Then you have the letter Q. I was thinking of a TV show, Quincy. Q. Quincy was like a detective, right? Q. Well, Q is an O with that stem coming out. So what does that tell us? That tells us that Q people, question, quotient, percentage. Qs understand the percentages that are going on around it. Qs can be excellent gamblers in sports, gambling, horse racing, you name it. They figure things out very quickly, and then they connect themselves to something else. They like to tie themselves to something or untie themselves. If you see how the more scriptive side of the Q, it gives you what? A circle up, coming down, and without picking your pencil or pen off the page, it curls and touches the beginning of the letter and sweeps down and then carries out. So it curls almost back unto itself and then cuts across. So if you were to take it, you would untie it and straighten it out. So Q can either be in a knot, bound, or free. If people with the first name of Q are in a situation that they need to get out of, they're going to find a way to straighten things out so they're released. If they want to be a part of something, they'll find a way to hook themselves in and tie a knot securely. Q. Q. I had a guy in grade school. Yes, grade school and high school. Beautiful name, Quintrell. When we heard that name, boys and girls, we just fell in love with the guy, Quintrell. And his last name was Burrell, so it launched Quintrell Burrell. He was a very popular student athlete. He was in student government and an athlete. This guy kept, in order to be in student government, you had to maintain a C plus. This cat was an A, and he played sports. And the unique thing about him, I never saw him pick up a book. He had a very high IQ, very high IQ, almost considered a genius, but he never used his mental nature at on that level. Years later, I saw him working just a regular job. But I understand that as time went on, he started his own business. He went into the cleaning business and landscaping business and made a mint. So there's something special about everybody. And then you have the letter Y. Y is a transformational kind of letter. It's a V on a stem. That's the best way to let you know. A V on a stem. It's half of a K, one V, and actually two V's. One V is wider than the other. You can think of V on a stem like a champagne glass. It likes to capture and then streamline. That's what Y's do. Capture as much as they can and then streamline it and make it more simple. It gets the value of 1 under the Chaldean system. I just wanted to bring out some numerology this evening. We got about 8 minutes left. I hope that you are enjoying the information. You can replay this. You come back to the archives and replay it, but I upload a copy of this. Will go to my YouTube channel, so it will be there. Many people, this is for people who will be listening in later who never saw the show before, just tuning into it. If you need to find out more information about me, you can find out more information about me by going to HTTP, which is Harry Thomas Paul, colon, that's the dot over each other, 2 vertical dots, // circle, which a capital C, lowercase IRCLE, right after that E, lowercase o and F, right after the F, capital G for Gary or Grace, GRACE with the number 1 at the end. Then you put a period right after the 1, to the right of the 1, and you're going to write in this word, by region, BYREGION.net, N-E-T. And I'm on the By Region Network out of North Carolina. I love those people. They host my website. You can go to my website. Pretty extensive. I got to go back there and add some more things. Kind of keep it up to date. I haven't been up to date, but you'll find in my profile much information about me there. And when I get a chance, I'm going to relay some other information up there. If you're on Facebook with me, you could follow me on Facebook. You can find me as Francis Revels-Bey or Bishop Francis Revels-Bey. I have a Circle of Grace 1 page that's open to just about anybody. I just started just in the last week 2 closed groups. One is called the Friends of the Circle of Grace 1. And everyone that's usually on that page are people that I've been mentoring and teaching for years. But it's open to people who are part of my other closed group. My twin flame to the Friends of the Circle of Grace 1 is the Circle of Grace 1 in the Age of Remembrance, just like my Blog Talk Radio show. It's not just for listeners of Blog Talk Radio, it's just not for you streamers, but I kind of handpick who I want to be in that group, and it's usually people that I vibrate well with on a spiritual level. You might have other people. Let me know who you'd like to invite in. We don't discuss things from a political nature, but if we need to lay down some prayer work so there's not too much craziness and not violence going on in the world, you can lay your prayers out in Friends of Circle of Grace 1 or Circle of Grace 1 in the Age of Remembrance. You can put spiritual and metaphysical poetry. You can put a short lesson plan there. that you might want to share with somebody. You could put a YouTube link or a website link. In fact, I encourage, this is one of many, I encourage anybody who I bring in there to advertise themselves freely. So if you're in the Friends of the Circle Grace 1, you can leave information about yourself. I would say don't put your phone number up, but you can put your email address, or better yet, just throw your website in there. Or if someone wants to know more about you, you just put it up lightly. Someone wants to know a little bit more about you, just have them contact you in your inbox, and then you can give them all the information from there. Don't leave your phone number up, because you don't want everybody seeing that phone number. This is for those who are members of Friends of the Circle of Grace 1, as well as Friends of Circle of Grace 1 in the Age of Remembrance. I put a lot of spiritual essays up. I put up poems up there. I put lesson plans. I put there's a guy on YouTube. He's a musician, and he has beautiful meditation music. His name is Christopher Lloyd Clark. Clarke. You can go and find his YouTube channel. I posted one of his pieces. It's called Ascension. That's what I believe it's called, Ascension. It's a 6-minute piece. It's a sample though. But the reason why I do that is because I want to also let other people know that there are other people out there doing splendid, beautiful, healing, energetic work. So if you're into Reiki, if you're into pranic healing, if you're into Dawn Yoga, you just want to talk about it a little bit, feel free to talk about it on the Circle of Grace 1 in the Age of Remembrance, as well as Friends of Circle of Grace 1. And by the way, if I have you in one and somehow I missed putting you in the other one, please let me know, and then I'll add your name in. We're going to add in people gradually. It's not about advertising me so much, but it's about putting like minds together so that we know that we all exist. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. I'm mentoring people who are older than myself. I've mentored people up to age 81. The youngest has been 12. So, and I've done whole families at times. So this is a way to just get information out. I'm going to be doing some teleseminars as soon as I get myself a little bit more settled. I'm going to do some teleseminars and teleconferences. And there's a difference between the teleseminar, there's a fee. A teleconference, there's no fee. You just tune in and then I'll give you some prices of whatever I might be doing. But teleseminar is an actual class. So a teleseminar can go 45 minutes. Sometimes I've done them 75 minutes to an hour and a half. And usually they are recorded at the same time. So people that come on, you can hear each other talking, and then you can go back and listen to the link later. So I'm going to be doing some teleseminars really soon because I want to get more information out to people. I'm also taking my time and I'm putting together some of my older audio shows. I was once on Spreaker.com, which was like an internet podcast radio. So I might go back in my files and see if I could pull some of those forward. I'm thinking about putting them onto CD audios and then selling the CD audio. So you'll have a lot of information out there. Hopefully in the very near future I could do a live DVD, and which is a video, and put that out and give you some things so that you can have two things on a DVD, two programs, distinctive programs, or we might just have some meditation all on one, so that you get the DVD is supposed to hold 4 hours. I might give you 2 hours, 2.5 hours of information, but it's something that you could get, that you could utilize. And what I'll strive to do is I'll strive to put some additional data into it. So as we begin to wind down, I didn't think I was going to make it to 2 hours. I did, 1 minute short of 2 hours. I want to thank you for joining me. for our show, May the 5th, 2016. I will be back here next Thursday at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 4 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Central, and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Try to give you at least 75 minutes. We try to take it to 2 hours today. That we did that at 7:01 p.m. This is the Circle of Grace 1 with myself, Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey, on May 5th, 2016. See you next week. If you want to be in touch with me, call my brand new Skype number, which is 505-349-4722. You can call my Magic Jack line, which is my prayer and meditation decree request line, which is 505-717-4722. You can email me at my primary email, which is iam.circleofgrace1@yahoo.com, and my secondary email is iam.circleofgrace1@gmail.com. Go to my website, circlegrace1.byregion.net, to gain more information about what I'm doing. My grace is your grace. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing, as we are alive and well in the age of remembrance. Thank you so much. See you next week, right here at Ustream for Circle of Grace 1 at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, or you can listen to me on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for a 30-minute blog talk radio show. The Age of Remembrance is my channel. Sub-channel name, Circle of Grace 1 in the Age of Remembrance. Next week, I'll be continuing with the importance of unconditional love on Blog Talk Radio, 4 p.m. next Wednesday. Right here, we'll give the highlights of the Blog Talk Radio show, and we'll talk about something new. I'm here on Thursdays, Circle of Grace 1, with Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey, right here at Ustream, 5 p.m. every Thursday, Mountain Time. God bless you, love you unconditionally, and again, remember that divine grace is a blessing, as we are alive and well in the age of remembrance. See you soon.